Hello everyone, I'm back. This is Dee, and I have a continuity of this other video that I made about the elements. And today I wanted to talk about air. Um, so the air element. Okay, so I wanted to kind of have a chance to go into the difference of the elements and how they interact with each other. Um, if we're going to the air element, so let's think of the wind, right? How does it move? You can control it, you can contain it. It changes direction at any given time, any given moment. It blows hard, it blows soft. So that's pretty much the personalities of someone with the air element. So what does that look like? So as I mentioned before, it's somebody who's very chatty. Those are the information whores of the society. They absorb information like a sponge. Not necessarily because they must study it, not necessarily because they're researching it. It just comes from a natural curiosity to just know a thing, so that at any given time they could actually discuss a subject, a topic, and be confident at it. So they are people, you would say they are quick-witted, they have the gift of gab, they're cerebral, as I mentioned before. They are very refreshing. They always have insight on things. Not really super controlled and rigid in the way they see the world or their thoughts and ideas. They are open people. So how would they relate to somebody who's a more of a water element personality, somebody who is more quiet, more demure, somebody who's more hesitant perhaps, who kind of it's just kind of go at a thing with is in a bit of a emotional state of mind, like more like feel their way into things. If you think about the element of water in itself, it's something that doesn't really have a shape. It takes form or whatever, right? And the wind doesn't have form either. So when you put these two together, it's a very stimulating relationship. It's as a friend or acquaintance or lovers or whatever relationship you have going on. This interaction is actually really fun, really stimulating to both of them, because here you have the air person who has the information, who's like really seeks to influence because he has all this information. He or she has I would say has knowledge, right? They have knowledge, right? And everything. That's the jack of all trade. They know everything, but not necessarily proficient at any particular thing, but they could discuss it as they wish. And then you have water who's easily influenced. So you could see how this air person could feel like he's the master of whatever it is that's going on when around that water energy. But if you think of it like that too, when this is that is in good balance, right? Air and water in good balance. The air, if it has a cup, it stays in his container, and the wind blows, right? If the air doesn't have a container, let's say we're talking about somebody who's a more water energy, but it is not very mature, is not very self-assured, right? So the air energy could pretty much move this person. Just think of water without a base, who could just be flowing in every direction, right? Based on the wind, you blow it, it moves this way and that way, you spread out. This person could become very scattered, just hanging out too much around air energy. And the person with water personality could find themselves very not distracted, what I'm looking, scattered. They could feel pretty scattered just being around someone with air energy, because they don't have the container to sustain this much information all at once and to decipher and pick up from this person whatever it is that is necessary for whatever, or their interaction is just too much, too soon, too overwhelming, too stimulating for someone with the water energy. So the air person would have to be very mindful in how they interact with someone with a more water personality, because that could be overwhelming. And if you think of it this way too, air and water, when you have too much air with water, what do you have? A tsunami. But you could see in the tsunami, it's the water that overflows over the city. So it's the what the air is perfectly in the element being what personality does. Air blows, right? That's all. The wind blows, the air flows, and it's just doing its thing. The air person could be a little bit oblivious of how they're affecting someone with a water personality, but the water personality person would feel every single bit of the air person intensity, because that's the person that's moving and swaying to that wind, right, to the conversation, to the overwhelming amount of information that's being poured into them, and they get scattered. So if you think of someone with air, with I would say earth, right? Immovable. Earth, you can't really change their mind. You can't really, I mean, these people are firmly planted. They know who they are. They're self-assured. They're rigid. Okay. They have an opinion. It's usually a pretty solid one. If they have one, they probably studied it, mastered it, and they have facts. They have links. They have the research. The problem here, when the air person could start talking, now remember, the air person, the only downside is they have information on everything, but they're not a master of any particular subject, really. The earth, if they're discussing science, the earth personality person, if they're discussing science, you best believe they know everything about it. They are proficient, they are efficient, they are a master at that particular topic. So the air person could hanging out too much with the someone with earth energy could make them feel stupid, because the earth energy person is so well grounded and who they are, and the earth is just blowing. Is you just like this annoying thing that's chitter chatter, and the earth person is like, okay, you don't know, you don't have an idea of what you're talking. You don't know a fucking thing. You are stupid. You're an idiot. And this way, because they cannot really affect each other, they could still, the only way this interaction will flow is if the two people will have a certain understanding of, okay, I have the knowledge here, that's the air person, and I'm not seeking to influence you, I'm just putting the message out there. And you are the earth person, I'm not trying to change your mind, and I'm not trying to stop you from giving the information either. Just leave the information that you have, that because the air does have it, hover in the air, and I will come and take whatever it is that I can, that I think it relates to me or I'm interested in. The interaction too, the air person would feel like, I'm free floating, I'm not connecting. Because if you think of these two elements, the earth stays in its whatever is going on with it, it stays in its own domain on the ground or whatever, and the air still blows. But when this interaction works great when we don't seek to influence each other, because that's how it is with nature, right? Air and earth. But if the air element person try to push the earth person too much, trying to push itself onto this earth person, it's full stop. And then sometimes it doesn't work at all. What do you have when you have when you have air and earth? When it's not in balance, you have a tornado, right? Not good, the wind is doing its thing, the dirt is everywhere, and it's just not a good mix. They just don't mix well together. And if you have friends like that, because honestly, we're neither of us, none of us is just one thing. We are many of the personalities combined, and then we usually influenced by one personality a little bit more. So we just need to, we could navigate everybody's personality, but we just need to know when to pull back, when to how to just make sure we maintain a certain balance. So that's air and earth. So air and fire. Ooh, beautiful combination. Fire likes the stimulation that the air brings. If you think about fire in and of itself, it's just without air around, it stands still. It also shrinks a little bit because it doesn't have that stimulation that kind of make it, the flame kind of go in different direction, right? So fire, when air is not being too imposing, fire energy person like having air around. It's like you fuel me. It's like you fuel my fire. You blow me a little bit, because honestly, without air, you don't have fire either, in a sense, because it kind of like suffocates itself. But balance in all things, right? So the air person, they are, you know, they are the courageous type, you know, they like the stimulation, but they're also people of authority. They stand on their own ground, you know, so you don't need to push them towards you. You extinguish that fire. If air comes too strong, as far as the personality type, they could extinguish the fire, or they could fuel the fire so much the fire becomes out of control and burn everything. You could see how, you know, if you understand the nature of a person when you're interacting, you know, if you have a certain curiosity and you want to interact with people in a way that is just enough that everybody stay in their own rights and their own comfort level, you could use the elements to really have a good flow with the people around you, and have like a and have a very harmonious interaction with peers, with friends, with co-workers, with people around you, you know, so you know how much, what is needed, how much to push, how much to pull back, and when to kind of influence, and how it's received, right? And so you're not becoming somebody who's like irritable and just like, you know, just destroying everything on your path, and creating friction instead of anything else. So what did I say? So I talked about air with earth, air with water, air with fire, and air with air. Air with air. Hello, we could talk all day. We could hang out. We blow. We're friends. Like, it's happening. We're talking about everything, every topic. Not a dull day between these two personalities, because I mean, hey, we're the same, right? We understand. I could jump from air with air. I could jump from 20 different topics at the same time within one line, one sentence, 1 minute. You ride along with me. You got me. You have just about as much information that we gel right here. You bring air to air. We blow together. We flow together. We are one, right? Because there isn't distinction, right? The only downside with that one particular is if you have clean air and then you have dirty air. In a sense, you don't have clean air anymore. It's all dirty. So if you have somebody who's influencing someone negatively, when you're talking about people with who are so curious, who could get involved in all kinds of things that are destructive, like destructive patterns, like, you know, tampering with drugs and alcohol and everything. This could be a terrible mix to have these two together, because they influence each other. So so if we're not talking about people who are fully formed, very emotionally stable and super mature, and knowing who they are from within, then you have someone who's air energy, two air energy, and one is more destructive. It won't take time. It won't take long before the other person who's more steady will have their life also derailing by interacting with this other air person. Anyway, next I'll come with a different element. I wanted to drop this today before I go to dinner with a friend. Yeah, that is all. This is Dee signing out. I'll come back later, bring a new video. Bye. Oh, I have this little thing.